Yo, what's good, y'all? In today's video, I got the how to make a saved slot system. So pretty simple back end kind of system and everything that everybody has seen in various kind of games, but usually games like, adventure games, RPG games and stuff like that, where you have multiple save slots. Usually it's like, you can have like up to three and stuff, sometimes where you have to buy a game pass and whatnot and stuff. But yeah, I'm just showing you guys how to make a basic save slot system and stuff. You'll have three options. Click on one, it'll load your data based on, whatever saved, if you have any saved data for that slot and everything. So yeah, like I said, I'm coming back. I was serious, I'm coming back with the videos and everything. School's out and I'm hitting y'all with a whole bunch of content. So be ready. Got a lot of ideas planned, and for sure drop some ideas in the comments or in the channel in my Discord server if you guys have any ideas and everything. Yeah, thank you guys for all the love and support I'm showing. I really do appreciate it. And let's go ahead and get straight into the video. Okay. First things first, we're gonna go ahead and take care of the UI, right? So let's head on over to Starter GUI, right? We're going to click the plus icon, screen GUI. You're going to disable reset on spawn. Very important that you do that. Then we're going to rename this to slots GUI. Then you're going to want to insert a frame into it. You're going to want to rename this frame to slots frame. Then we can just drag this to like the middle, set the size to be 300 by 300, just put that like nice in the middle, right? Then we can do some customization stuff. The color and everything is up to you guys. You guys don't have to do exactly what I'm doing, right? Y'all can, do as you please kind of thing, right? So I'll just do that. Then we can go ahead and insert a text label into said frame, bam, and then just put it at the top and in the middle. Rename this text label to slots text label, right? This is our header. So then bold text, rich text, scale text. Again, you guys can customize this whatever way you want. It's up to y'all. So then this would be called slots text label, right? Oh, sorry, no, that's the text. Copy and paste this. So copy this, right, and then update the text so it just says saved slots, right? Text color to white. Text stroke transparency will be set to 0 and text stroke color will be black, of course. Then now for the name, paste it here. Oh, we already did the name. Okay, my bad. I guess I forgot. Well, anyway, so then we're gonna set the background color to like a transparent, darker, kind of blackish gray color. Bam, make it transparent. Then also make it have a border, and there we go. Wonderful, right? So then after that, we are going to go ahead and insert a text button. So bam, plus icon, text button. Put this, middle little beneath it. Rename this text button to slot one text button. We're going to once again do some customization. Bold text, rich text, scale text. And then, okay, the text is very important. So make sure you do it exactly as I'm doing it. So we're just going to put the word slot, space, then the number. So slot 1, slot 2, slot 3. Very important, right? So slot 1 text button, right? Then we're going to do customization. Now the colors and everything, up to y'all. So just the text and names are important. So we will, of course, do the same as we did before. So background color, nice dark grayish. Then make it something like that. Yeah, something like that. Then go down here, switch the colors. Text color is white. Text stroke transparency set to 0. While the text stroke color is black. Then we will give it a little bit of a border. Something like that. Maybe the border can be a little lighter, perhaps. Let's see. Maybe some, because you can't really see it with like it literally blends in with the base plate, but it doesn't really matter. So then we're just gonna duplicate this. So select it, Control plus D, bam, and then just drag that a little under it, right? Then do it again, Control plus D, while having it selected. Then just drag a little under it. Now we have 3 slot buttons. Then we've got to make the appropriate changes. So second one will be slot 2 text button. Go down to the text to slot 2. Third one, do the same. Text to slot 3, and then the name to slot 3 text button. Again, name and text is very important. The colors and everything and the fonts and all that, that is completely up to you guys. Okay, just like that, we are done with the UI. So now we can move on to the actual coding, right? So we're just gonna leave the UI as is because when you usually join a game, you typically, the slot menu is like open, or like you click play and all that, but I'm not doing a whole menu and everything and stuff. That's for you guys to figure out. I'm just showing you guys how to do the slot part. So then open up starter player if it's not already. starter player scripts, plus icon, local script. Rename the script to core script, in parentheses, put local. We will not be here for long. We will be on the server script soon enough. So we're going to create 3 variables. First things first, we're going to create a variable for the core remote event, which we need to go create. So head on over to replicated storage, plus icon, remote event, rename said remote event to core event, right? Then we're going to create a variable. So core event is equal to game, the replicated storage, wait for child, core event, then create a variable for our local player. So player is equal to game dot players dot local player, then create a variable for our UI. So slots GUI is equal to player dot player GUI, wait for child, slots GUI. Then we will set up our for IV in pairs loop. So for IV in pairs, and then in parentheses you're going to put slot GUI dot slot frame, get children, enter, then you're going to, of course, need to use an if statement. So if v is a text button, enter, then you'll say v.activated to account for mobile and PC players. Connect function, close parentheses, enter. You're then going to set it so that I keep saying stats. The slots GUI is no longer enabled, so enable is equal to false. Then you will fire the remote event, core event, fire server, in quotation marks. Name the event would be slow slot. Then, of course, you're going to need to send over which specific slot, whether it be slot 1, slot 2, slot 3, or however many slots you have, whatnot. And let me just double check to make sure. Okay, we are good. And I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I did not test this when I finished making it, mostly because since it's data saving, I mean, I have to reset my data afterwards and everything, and I didn't really feel like doing all that. So we're just gonna pray for the best and hope everything works. If not, I'll fix it and we'll move on from there. But anyway, so head on over to server script service, click the plus icon, server script, rename this script to core script. And parentheses. Oh, okay, I thought I spelled it wrong. Anyway, server, delete print hello world, then create some variables. Let's save ourselves some time. Go back here, copy and paste the core event. Selected, Control plus C, Control V, right? Then we'll create a variable for the data store service. So DSS is equal to game get service, as you guessed it, data store service, right? Then we'll create a variable for each individual data store and stuff, right? So slot 1 data store is equal to DSS get data store slot 1 data store. Then you just copy and paste this. Control C, Control V, Control V. You'll just do this many times for however many data stores you have. So slot 1 data store, slot 2 data store, slot 3 data store, and then of course update the corresponding names over here. And then boom, just like that we have our 3 data stores, right? Now let's set up the first function. Game.players player added, connect function, in parentheses put PLR to short for player, enter. So here's what we're about to do. I'm going to create some dummy values, right? So you guys know how in games you have all these values and whatnot, right? All these, we'll say stats and stuff, right? You have things like how much money you have, your strength, your speed, stats, what race you are, you know what I'm saying? Stuff like that, your magic level, your mana, whatever, right? So we're just going to create some test stats so that like when we test it, we can see, oh, okay, it's saved properly, and yeah, this is my stuff from that slave, save. I don't know why I said slave. Save, right? So then let's go ahead and create some values real quick. So first, the leader stats folder is equal to instance.new folder, right? Leader stats.name is equal to leader stats, then parent this to the player, right? Then we'll create a cache value. So cache is equal to instance.new parentheses number value. Then cache.name is of course equal to cache, right? Cache.value is equal to 0. It doesn't really matter what you set this to in all honesty. But cache.parent, this will just be the default values, by the way. And then make sure you parent this, of course, to the leader stats folder. I would recommend, unless you know what you're doing, then you could, change the names of this stuff and blah, blah, blah. But I would recommend if you don't know what you're doing all that well, just follow along what I'm doing with the names and everything, and at least until you understand how the system works and stuff, because it does go by specific names. Then we're just going to go ahead and save ourselves some time here. So select everything we just wrote, Control C, Control V, Control V, and one more time, Control V, right? So then now we're going to need to, of course, do some things. Things might look confusing, so right? After the first part right here, we finished that just in case anyone's a little lost, right? You're gonna go right here to the second leader stats variable. You're gonna rename this to stats folder, right? Control C, Control V, Control V, Control V. Just trying to save yourself some time. Then you're gonna go here and now we have our actual stats values. First up, we have strength. So I'll just just make it strength. Control V, Control V, Control V, and then this will be parented to the stats folder, of course. Then I will, of course, set this to 1 because it's a stat, so we'll just say it's set to 1. Then, right, we can delete that part right there. Then after strength, let's create a speed value, right? So we'll say speed, Control C, Control V, Control V, Control V, okay, Control V, and then we will delete this, parent this to the stats folder too. Value set to 1 by default, right? And then we can delete this stuff after it. Bam, right? Then let's say we have a race value, right? Let's say you have different races in your game, whatnot. You have human, elf, demons, or whatever. So race, this will be a string value, right? Control C, Control V, Control V, Control V, Control V. It's a string, so we'll set it as such. So we'll just say, I guess, the default race would be human, right? Then parent this value to the player. Then we need to make one more value, right? Let's copy and paste the raise variable, Control C, Control V. Now this would be a little different. We're not going to save this between servers. We're only gonna use this for like each individual server. This doesn't need to be saved to a data store and stuff. So we're gonna keep track of the current slot. So this is pretty much where like when you load a slot, it's going to keep track of like when you press that button, it'll say, okay, the player is currently using slot 1, slot 2, or slot 3, right? So then when the player leaves, it knows which slot to save the data to. Like, okay, the player's last known save that they loaded was say slot 1. Okay, I'm going to save their current data to slot 1. It's to make sure that you're not overriding data, like you didn't load slot 3 but you're saving the data to slot 1 kind of thing. So current slot, so Control C, Control V, Control V, Control V, um, Control V, and then this is a number. Wait, no, sorry, this is a string value. And then the default say will of course be slot 1, right? And then this will be parented to the player, and then yeah, that's pretty much it. Now we can move on to our second function, right? So then we will set up the load data function. So core event dot on server event connect function in parentheses put PLR, which is short for the player, comma event type, comma arg1, short for argument number 1, enter. Then we will set up an if statement. We will say if event type is equal to in quotation marks load slot. We'll then create two variables first. Slot is equal to arg1. Pretty much it'll say slot 1, slot 2, or slot 3. Then we'll create a variable for our data, and by default we'll set this to equal to nil and stuff, right? Pretty much this variable's value will not update if no data exists, right? If pretty much the player is a newcomer. So we'll say if slot is equal to slot 1 enter, then we will set the data value according. So we say slot 1 data store, oh my bad, slot 1 data store get async, and then the key we will use is player's user ID, right? Then we will need to do this for each individual slot. So else, type the word else, copy and paste this part of the if statement, Control C, Control V, enter, else, again, Control V, then just, do the same thing. Slot 2, come down here, slot 2, slot 3, and slot 3. Simple, right? And then, oh, did not mean to put a breakpoint. Then after the whole if statement, we're then going to actually use another if statement. We're going to say if data is not equal to nil, which means we found something, then we will update the values accordingly. Now, this is very important, right? You need to load the data in the same order that you save it, and the vice versa. You need to save the data in the exact order that you want to load it. I will bring this up when we get to the actual data saving, right? Because all this is loading, but it's very important, right? So, well, actually, you could technically load the data in any order and stuff, but you would just need to know which one. But the point is, it's just better to go like in numerical order. That's just like, so here's the thing, right? The way we're going to save the data, we're going to save this in the order that you guys see it in, like the order we created in. Like, since cache is the first value, because keep in mind, if you're a little confused, leader stats and those are folders, not values. Those are just folders, right? They're just keeping track of values for us. But the actual values, we're going in order. Cache would be the first value saved. Strength would be the second. Speed would be the third, and then race would be the fourth, right? And then keep in mind, we're not saving this value, so it'll just be those four, just in case anyone was a little confused on that. But anyway, so we're gonna set these values. Player.leaderstats.cache.value is equal to data, regular brackets, 1. So the first value, right? Then you can really just copy and paste this, Control C, Control V, Control V, Control V, because we need it 4 times, right? Then for the second one, we'll put our stats folder, and then this is going to be strength. Then this will be the second value in the data set. Then once again, stats folder, right? And then we're going to get speed. Then third value in the set, right? We're going in order, right? And then lastly, we have race. Player.race.value is equal to data. And then the fourth value in the set, right? Nice and simple. Then we need to set one more value, just not with the data that we currently have. We're going to update the player.current slot value is equal to whatever the current slot is, right? Now we can get onto the data saving. Very important that you do this exactly as I'm doing it, right? So we will say game.players.player removing connect function in parentheses, put PLR register for the player. Enter. You will then say local success, comma, error message is equal to pcall short for protected call function close parentheses, enter. Then you will create a table. So you will say data table is equal to special brackets, right? Then we will insert each individual value. So table.insert, we will say data table, comma, player.leaderstats.cache.value. Here's what I meant. You need to save the values in the exact order that you're loading them, right? You notice that this is the first value we're saving. This is the first value going into the table, and it is also the first value, like cache is being assigned to the first value in the data set. This is what I mean. Very important to make sure you do this exactly as I'm doing it. Because if you do it like in a different order, like you save strength first, but you say strength is equal to the second value in the set, then you're going to have mixed up numbers. So it's very important that you do this in order, right? Then we can just copy and paste this, Control C, Control V, Control V, Control V, and stuff. Now it's not really that hard because like all you really have to do, like if you don't really understand what I'm saying, the easiest thing to do is to just simply just go top to bottom, 1, 2, 3, 4, like instead of like first we did cache, now we're gonna do strength. So it's really not that hard. So stats folder, right? Strength, that value, stats folder, speed, that value. Then we have our race, right? That did not mean to do that. Then we have our race, right? Wait, what did I? No, I didn't mean to. Oh, that's what. Anyway, okay. So race.value, right? Then we're going to decide which one it goes to and stuff. So we're just gonna run that if statement once again. So we can really just copy and paste this to save ourselves some time. So just Control C, Control V. Only difference is you're going to say if player dot current slot dot value is equal to whatever it is, and then just copy and paste that. Control C, Control V, Control V at the top of the if statement. Then the difference is you're going to we'll just override this whole thing. So you're then going to say slot, whatever slot it is. So slot 1 data. So for the first one, you'll say set async. Remember our key is player user ID, comma. Then you'll insert the data table. And then boom, just copy and paste that. Control C, Control V, Control V, and then just slot 2, slot 3, and we are done with that part. And then now what we can do is we're going to use a while loop to ensure that data is saved. So we will say while not success, enter. Then all you have to do is copy and paste everything we just put inside of that function. Control C, Control V. It'll keep trying to do it until it's successful, and then of course just throw a wait in there. So just wait like 3 seconds. All right, let's go ahead and test to make sure this works. As always, if you guys want access to any one of my scripts or models, you guys can become either a channel member or a Discord subscriber. Link to either one of those options can be found in the description. Highly recommend either one of them. Okay, so as you can see, we have all of our values, whether they be inside of our folders or inside of the player, right? So obviously we have the default values, so 1, 1, 0, and human, right? And then our current slot is, of course, slot 1. So right now we're being prompted with the option. Let's say I want to go with slot 2, right? Well, that's interesting. It did not update. That is very interesting. Okay. That is very interesting. If he is a text load slot. That is very interesting. Slot. If data is not equal to nil. Oh, never mind. I know what it is. I know what it is. Okay. I know what it is. Okay. So here's the thing, right? Here's the thing. I'm pretty sure everyone would like it to be like this. I was a little confused for a second. Okay. So, right, you guys see how we check to see if the data was not nil, right? Which pretty much means the player has to have some kind of saved data. Since the player has no saved data, by default, it's going to use slot 1 and stuff. Now, I don't know if maybe you'd prefer to have a system where like the player could still choose for their default slot to be slot 2 or 3, but hmm. Yeah. Mm, yeah, let's make it like that. Let's make it like that actually, yeah. Because I guess there could be some weird players that would prefer to use slot 2 as their first slot instead of slot 1, so we'll just make it like that, I guess. So we'll just throw in else and we'll just or we could just do it like this actually. Here, so just copy and paste this, Control C, go on the outside the if statement, paste it, right, so that it's done regardless. Now we click play, right? Oh, I really hope it did not save. Okay, so now if we do slot 2, bam, there we go. Now it updated to slot 2, right? Now let's update some values. How do I switch this? Like I said, guys, they switched the testing. Okay, there we go. Yeah, they changed the UI, so I'm trying to navigate this. Okay, so let's say race, let's say I'm an elf, right? And then let's say I have 1,000 cash and 25 speed, 50 strength. Keep in mind, I switched to the server side because the changes, need to apply on the server side. Okay, so I updated the values, right? Now, when I leave, so I'm just gonna delete my player. We will give it a second. It should have triggered this function, which should save the data. Okay, then we will stop. I will return, and I will load slot 2. And there we go. Okay, there is my data. As you guys can see, slot 2, my race saved, my cash, my speed, my strength. Yep. So now if I were to, let's say, let me come back again. As you can see, I start off with default values. I have to then load a slot. If I were to choose slot 1, for example, you'll see I have default values, right? And then let's just test real quick. Race, I'm just going to change 2 things. I'm going to say race giant. And then leader stats, cash will be 5, right? So let's test this. Delete it. We'll wait a few seconds. And then we'll check the differences. Okay. Stop. Come back. Load slot 1. Oh no. I'm still a human. That's not good. I'm still a human. Oh, it might not have saved actually. Yeah, it might actually just not have saved. Now that I think about it. Okay. It might just be a save error where like in studio, let's try this again. Elf cache is 5. Or sometimes in studio, saving can get a little weird. Okay, so let me switch in between. Delete on the studio side. Let's stop. I hope that saved it. Okay, there we go. Yeah, so it was just a studio save thing. But yeah, there we go. And now my race is saved, and I can swap in between. That was slot 1, and then if I come back, slot 2. Yep, there we go. Okay, that is how you make a slate. I don't know why I keep saying that word. Saved slots system and stuff. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the video. I honestly enjoyed making this system. Very simple, very useful system. Whatnot, if you guys want a part 2 one, I'm not really sure what I could add to this, but if you want to see a part 2 and whatnot and everything, for sure, just let me know. Stuff. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, definitely leave like, subscribe, and everything. Like I said, check out the description to see information about memberships and whatnot, and I got more content coming for you guys. So stay tuned. Thank you for watching. Leave a like, subscribe if you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you for watching.